I'll try not to say like or as now.
Or
Okay, so over the past 4 years of high school, I have heard 102 senior speeches. Out of those 102 speeches, I remember exactly 3. I remember 2 speeches my freshman year. One was memorable in a way you don't want your senior speech to be memorable in, and the other one was a speech by Laura Mazzanato where she said, "I don't want you to remember my senior speech." So obviously it's one of the 3 I remember. I don't remember any speeches my sophomore year, and I only remember Simon Belisi talking about the Armenian genocide last year, and I just found that interesting. So I remember less than 3% of all the senior speeches I've heard, which has made me rethink the purpose of senior speeches. We are told these speeches are for seniors to come up here and impart wisdom or advice onto the rest of the upper school. But for the small chance that any of you even remember my speech, I don't feel like that's true for me. I believe the true purpose of a senior speech is for the person up here to reflect upon the past 4 years of their life and maybe try to come up with some meaning on what's happened. So what I would like to do is I would like to tell you all advice I would give myself about things I would do or things that I wish I knew when I started high school, so that maybe you can learn from my experience and not make my same mistakes. So here are 3 things that I wish I knew or did when I started high school. So the first thing I wish I knew was that life is short and that high school will go way quicker than you think it will. I know this is really cliche, but you don't realize how true this is until you're standing up here and you realize that 4 years of your life just went by and it feels like you listened to your first senior speech yesterday. This kind of helps me think to live in the moment and that it's bad to spend too much time thinking about the past or the future or what has happened or what will happen, and just to focus on the now. Because if you don't focus on the now, one day you'll look up and you'll wonder where your last 4 years went. The second thing I would tell myself is that there's more to school than your GPA or your studies. I know those 2 things are very important to succeeding, but it's also very important to spend time with your friends and family and to just have fun sometimes. It's also important to find something that you're truly passionate about and that something outside of your studies that you can focus on. This is something I did a terrible job of my freshman year of high school, and I only really truly understood how to do this last year. And with EA, they offer so much clubs and sports to involve yourself in. It's best to involve yourself. And I realized this too late. And then the third thing I would tell myself is to have confidence in myself. I used to get nervous about everything. Presentations, tests, basketball games, tennis matches, or anything else I thought that was remotely important. But around last year, around this time, I realized how detrimental this was and how being nervous about everything didn't help and how it was actually negatively affecting my life and grades. So I decided that I would completely change how I view this aspect of myself and change myself so that I wouldn't get nervous for things like public speaking. Instead of being nervous about something like this, it's better to realize that you have to do this. Every one of us will. And that instead of being nervous about it, it's better to embrace it and find some enjoyment in talking and imparting wisdom onto the rest of the school. And also talk about regret. So regret is something that everyone has to deal with after high school. And I hope that you can learn from what I've said up here and maybe leave high school with less regrets than I have. So yeah, that's it. And I want to give some shout outs. I want to give a shout out to my parents for always supporting me. I want to give a shout out for Katie for being a better sister than I give her credit for. And I want to shout out the class of 2019 for being the GOAT.